Some people find working with the shape modes inside the Pathfinder panel somewhat confusing. To remedy this, Adobe has built a tool inside of the program that affords you a lot of the functionality found within this section of the Pathfinder panel. And that tool is called the Shape Builder tool. Let me show you how it works. What I'd like you to do is select both of these circles. Now, these circles are just like the circles that we worked with in the last movie. This is the top circle, and of course the larger one down here is the bottom circle. It's hard to see any depth here because neither of them have a fill. But if you click and drag a marquee around both of them, they become selected. You can then come over and choose the Shape Builder tool. With it selected, as you hover over the different regions within both of these shapes, you'll notice they become highlighted. This is just identifying which area of these shapes will be affected by this tool. So if you were to click and drag, notice a line begins to draw as you drag. As you drag through all of the areas within the shapes, they become selected. When you let go of the mouse, you can see that that's the equivalent of coming over and choosing the Unite command. I'm going to go ahead and undo that, Command-Z or Control-Z. You can also do the opposite. Right now, you'll notice that we have a plus sign next to the cursor. If you hold down the Option key on the Mac, Alt on Windows, it turns into a minus sign. So this will give you a lot of the functionality of this second button, which is minus front. So again, holding down that keyboard shortcut, Option on the Mac, Alt on Windows, click and drag over the first two sections of the shapes. When you let go of the mouse, you'll notice it essentially takes that portion out of the bottom image. It acts much like a cookie cutter. Again, we can go ahead and undo that. So let's take a look at how this works within a larger shape. I'm going to select this shape. I'm going to come over and press V on the keyboard to do that, or you can temporarily activate the selection tool by holding down the Command key. Then you can click and drag a marquee around the flower. Now remember, this will select the center of the flower, and we don't want to do that. So again, holding down the Command key or Control on Windows, you can come over and add the Shift key to that keyboard shortcut and click on the center to deselect it. You can let go of the keys on the keyboard and you'll be returned to the Shape Builder tool. Now, this is the problem with the Shape Builder tool. You'll notice right now we have a very complicated series of shapes, overlapping shapes. And what we want to do is join, or I should say, unite all of them together. What you'd have to do is click and drag several straight lines, and you'll notice you leave a lot behind. So you'd have to repeat that process over and over and over again. You'd also have to hit the interior here. It would actually be a lot of work. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Again, Command-Z or Control-Z on Windows. And instead, what you can do is move your cursor up here towards the top, click and drag, so you start creating this line, but then add the Command key and the Shift key as keyboard shortcuts. Then you'll be able to essentially create a marquee with the Shape Builder tool, giving you the ability to select everything. When you let go of the mouse, all of the shapes unite into one shape. Again, let's go ahead and undo this. Command-Z or Control-Z on Windows. Last thing that I want to show you. Right now, when you essentially join all of those shapes together to create one shape, you don't have a fill color, because that right now is the option here in the fill swatch. So what you can do with this tool is double-click it here in the Tools panel to open up the Shape Builder tool options. You'll notice one option, Gap Detection, gives you the ability to close any open paths if there's small gaps based upon a length that you specify here. But that's not what we want to talk about. What we want to talk about are the cursor swatch previews that are available. If you come over and select this option, Cursor Swatch Preview, and then click OK, you'll notice you see three little swatches next to the cursor. And these three little swatches are coming from your swatches panel. On the left we have registration, in the center we have none, and on the right we have white. You can move through the different swatches within the swatches panel by using the right arrow key or the left arrow key on your keyboard. If we come over to the swatches panel, we can see what swatches are available, and as you use the right arrow key on your keyboard, you'll notice that you're moving through the swatches panel as the highlight changes. You'll also see the swatch preview with the cursor change. Additionally, if you look over here to the fill swatch, you'll see that get updated as well. So here you can easily choose a fill color. Then what you want to do is the same thing, click and drag, so you have a line here, hold down the Command and Shift key. It turns into a marquee. When you let go of the mouse, you'll notice they unite into one shape. Because you still have the Shape Builder tool selected, you can then hold down the Alt key or the Option key on Windows. It'll turn into a minus sign, and you can click on this center. Right now the center's not available to click on because it's not selected, so we need to select it. Hold down the Command key to temporarily activate the selection tool. Click on the center of the circle, and you want to make sure that the other portion of the shape is selected as well, so hold down the Shift key and click on that as well. So now both of them are selected. Now you can hold down the Option key on the Mac, Alt on Windows, click in the center, and let go of the mouse, and you'll notice you now have that hollow center. So the Shape Builder tool is yet another way that you can work with multiple shapes to ultimately create one shape or a more complicated path.